Did you know that Selesnya Rabbits is currently the highest win rate standard best of one deck for the day? So we are going to be looking today at Untapped GG. It's a companion tool that tracks your own win rates, other users, for the highest win rate deck of the day. And that is Selesnya Rabbit. So we are going to do a deck tech, look at a couple different options of the deck, and then do a deck demo, a couple games of the deck in action, so you can reference, see how the deck plays out. So that will be what we're covering today. So from Untapped for the day, it's got a 56% win rate overall for all variations from Platinum to Mythic rank. It is the third most played deck in the format, behind the variations of Rakdos Aggro and Mono Red Aggro. If we look at the deck itself, there's a few variations. This one here is the one we're going to be playing today with a 69% win rate after 110 matches. A lot of the core of the deck is the same, little tweaks around the edges. You can go a little bit more creature heavy with like the War and War leaders, fewer spells. You can go full creature kind of package. You can go convoke package with Knight Errant of Eos. But I think for today, we are going to just copy paste the highest win rate deck, and let's jump right into the deck itself and take a look at it. So we have a little bit more interactive version of the deck, which I actually prefer in the best of one format. A lot of these decks are going to be a little linear. The Rakdos or Mono Red decks are very prowess focused. They want to play a bunch of spells onto creatures. They can deal huge amounts of damage. So having access to something at instant speed like Elspeth Smite, having the removal in a couple cases plays pretty well. And then the other most kind of common element of a deck we're going to have to play against is things with temporary lockdown, the Boros tokens, stuff like that. So having Season of the Burrow, one of the season cards, which allows us to exile target non-land permanent. So if they have temporary lockdown or forge, we can get rid of it. We get to return a creature from our graveyard, and then we get to make rabbit tokens, some variation of up to 5 pause being activated. But this is a rabbit deck after all, so let's look at the rabbits. We have Seasoned Warren Guard, a 1 mana 1/2 that when it attacks gets +2 power. If we create we have a token in play. We have a lot of tokens, so easy to kind of go with that. Paw Patch Recruit could be 2 creatures in 1, and then whenever your opponent targets one of your creatures, you get to put counters on other creatures, which is nice. The Valley Mite Caller comes in pretty small. It's a frog, but cares about our rabbit friends. So it gets power for every time a rabbit comes into play. In case as some removal, like we mentioned, Pollen Shield Hair can be a pump effect. So target creature you control gets gets vigilance and plus XX equal to the number of creatures, and then it's an anthem for your other creature tokens. Valley Quest Caller is another anthem and lets us scry every time a rabbit comes into play. Notably, this doesn't care about frogs, so the Valley Mite Caller is the only one that doesn't trigger it. We have Burrow Guard Mentor, 2 mana XX, where number of creatures you control, and then Trample. We have a full set of Phineas in here. So Phineas will, when it attacks, you get to put a counter on each other creature you control, and then if you have 10 or more power, you get to draw a card. Hop to it, 3 creatures for the price of 1 card, and this plays into the token theme. We have Warren War Leader, 2 mana. We can also Offspring it, and then we can create tokens whenever you attack. Doesn't have to be with this creature, but you get to create a 1/1 token that's tapped and attacking, or your attacking creatures get +1/1. So kind of enables you in that sense. The one thing with this deck, because we're a little bit spell heavier, we're not playing Cavern of Souls. If you're on fewer spells, you can play Cavern and kind of help with that. We're also playing a couple of the villages. We have Lupin Flower Village. So it can be used to cast creature spells only for the colored mana. And then you can sacrifice it, look at the top 6 cards of your library, reveal basically a rabbit, put it into your hand, and then put it in. So it's kind of card advantage. And then the Oak Hollow Village, for green mana, we can tap and put a counter on each frog, rabbit, raccoon, or squirrel you control that enter the battlefield this turn. So this allows us to put pressure without having to overcommit to the board each kind of turn cycle. So we are going to take this for a spin. I'm going to highlight a couple deck games of like demo of the deck in action, and then we'll take it from there. So thanks in advance for watching, and we'll see you in the games. Jumping into a game, playing against Whiskers. Opponent goes first. Hand's okay. We do need to hit a land, but we'll see how this one goes. Face isn't too bad. So we do want to hit a land here. Torch the Tower is an interesting inclusion. All right, well, we're going to be gumming up the board pretty soon with a bunch of hop to its, which will be nice. Mechanized Warfare. Interesting inclusion there. So I'm going to do this. Probably end up taking out one of their creatures, potentially. But I think I might save this. We'll gum up the ground pretty well. I want to hit Slick Shot Show off if they are playing it. I think just forcing them into spells here. Because like at the end of the day, this is only one spell for us. Interesting, because like they can take out the pollen hair here, which they do. Let's go hop to it again. So they are kind of running out of cards now. I could hop to it. Oh, come on. Tectonic Hazard main. That's just silly. That's a card you really don't see that often. We're taking a little bit of... They have another Tech Hazard. They just wanted it more. So I could put a counter on everything, but my life total is pretty low. So I think we're going to just play it safe. And then I think we flip this. Just because this way, like, I turn the corner next turn and kind of get them there. So given that they've had, like, a ton of removal, Mishra is in here. Interesting take on mono red. A little bit dated. Phoenix Chick can ping me, hit me for 2. So if the last card is a burn spell, they do get me this turn. What do you got? Show me your secrets. Show me your secrets. So they block here. They take dead. Alrighty. Big bunny energy on the board. Alrighty. Jumping into the game. Hopefully against something other than mono red so I can get some diversity for this video. Because right now, the only thing we're seeing, mono red. We can see how these Valley Might Callers pair out. We'll go Might Caller, I think is the line. Just start getting these going. Hey, bats. I think powering these up will be good. Sooner we can get these out of cut down range. Also nice. The trample will be relevant. This deck will have a lot of like incidental life gain. We don't have a huge amount of removal. Up to it would be fantastic right now. So one thing to be mindful of. Oh, called shot. Called shot. Let's go. Plus some power. Hello. Taking the trade. That's a really good trade for us. They could put the counter there, gains them a bit of life. Case. Second essence. So they took some damage. They'll gain a life, gain a life. That'll soak up some damage for them. We probably end up just throwing these in the way. All right. Valley might color Tron. I don't know. Figure it out. Well, that was certainly impressive. Match for the next one. Alrighty, jumping into a game. Playing against the MFN Sorcerer. So reasonable curve here. 1 drop, 2 drop, play that, and then use the Anthem. It's like the Scamp aggro deck. Think we just go Warren Guard here. It's an interesting kind of line because if they have the pump effect, it's pretty. They're going to attack through anyways. This is where we're going to want to see one of the kind of removal options of our deck. I think we take the damage this turn. They could fling this turn, but probably not worth it. This gives us a bit more power in play. We can double block next turn. They would, if they have a pump, could go up to 4, potentially more. I think we just throw the Season War Guard in front of the Scamp and then force them to either pump a bunch and then we just play hop to it. It's a bit like tricky of a line to navigate. If we obviously had a removal spell, it'd be pretty solid. But the Scamp represents a lot of damage coming through. In addition to Thud being a bit of a scary one. Okay, so them just going Case bodes pretty well for us. They ended up discarding a mountain to draw 2 cards. This gives us the most amount of bodies just to soak up damage. I think Elspeth's Smite is where we want to be here. I think I'm going to poke in 2 here. I have 8 in terms of blockers this turn. They could present more than the 8. They get us. But next turn, I can do like the Shield Tear and then hold up Elspeth's Smite. I can play double Paw Patch and then hold up Elspeth's Smite. So we have some options there. Notably as well, the Elspeth's Smite exiles, so they don't get the trigger off the Scamp here. I think depending on how they attack this turn, it'll indicate to us how we want to approach it. We have Emberheart. Interesting game. They could do something like Monstrous Rage here. Yeah. Get another Rage. I think with the way our hand is set up, this gives us 1 scry. This would give us 2 scries. This makes our tokens bigger. Which I think I do like that line there. I think we can do better than that at this point. And then we have like 9 to kind of block here. So what we want to do is bait them into using a spell and then kind of going from there. I guess it might have been made. It's iffy because like the extra toughness with the trample is relevant. So to get rid of our Lord here. Get rid of our effect. I ended up having quite a bit of burn. Let's just exile this now. So we'll just play out creatures like this. I'll poke for 1 here. I do want just another blocker. They have gone through a couple trample effects at this point. Slick Shot in the air is going to be a bit annoying. Hopefully it's just sheer. They had the shock too. That's super frustrating. Like the last spell being the shock, that they had all that kind of from it, and now they solve the case. So now it's just basically a race at this point. We were hoping the Phineas could have got us there. Hopefully one of these is a land. No Thud. Swiss Spear. Goes to 2. Taking a bit of a chance there. Two, 3, so 4, 7, 10. No! 1 off. Show me a spell. I guess we could have held back. We should have held back. Get the spell anyways, though. Blazing Crescendo. It mattered. So, interesting one there against mono red. They had a lot of pump. They had some well-timed removal that got us. If we drew a creature there, we win. So all in all, like pretty back and forth game. Joining a new one. Playing Jojo. Jojo's trying to take down MTG Joe. Let's see what happens. All right, this hand gives us some flexibility to be aggressive or hit it mulligan. Hopeless Nightmare. Mono black discard. Don't really care about Deep Cavern. I think if I was them, I'd probably take Hop to it. It could also take Pollen Shield Hair. It takes my play for the turn. We just do this. If we had the double green, I would double spell, but since we don't, we'll go with this. Because then next turn, if we don't hit a land, I can play multiple spells. Okay, I go Virtue. I'll kick this. That gives me a token, so we can start racing, and then any of their spot removal becomes advantageous to us. So I'm gonna not play the land yet because it gives them information. So their turn's probably gonna be popping this Scry. Top bottom. Line's great here. So exile non-land permanent, its controller draws a card. And then we could return the case. So we're going to exile Aclazotz. We're going to get back the case. The case is going to come down, going to hit the Deep Cavern Bats. And then this will allow us to flip the case and then chunk them for a whole bunch of damage. We only had like the one token, so it didn't really make sense with Pollen Hair where the case is a permanent. And then yeah, that quickly wraps it up there, which is nice. So played into a bit of interaction, 2 discard effects, a removal, and a well-timed to take out Aclazotz. Otherwise, that was going to start dealing us some trouble.